So much winning, guys. So much winning. Donald Trump, in 2 weeks in his presidency, has done more than Joe Biden has done in 4 years. It was like within the first 2 days that it seemed like he already did more than Joe Biden. He is such a great leader. He gets shit done. He knows exactly how to get what he wants, and he doesn't give a fuck about which toes he steps on or who he pisses off. It doesn't matter. And it's just incredible to see an actual president, an actual leader in charge of our country. We haven't seen it in so long, since the last presidency of Donald Trump. But this is even better. Trump seems to have learned a lot of lessons from when he was in the White House last time. He started off as an outsider, not really having a lot of connections in Washington, not really knowing how to govern, obviously, because it was his first job in politics, right? The president of the United States, which is crazy, like, just thinking back at that. But he definitely is more refined, he is more effective, and he is getting more shit done. The Democrats and people on the left are just so overwhelmed with all the stuff that he's doing, and they just can't keep up with it, because every day it's like 5 or 6 new things that he's accomplishing and getting done for the American people, for this country. I love it. I'm so happy that Donald Trump won the election. I ultimately predicted that he would, but I was I was nervous on election day. I wasn't confident or anything like that. I was like, oh, this is going to be a close one. Thankfully it wasn't. It was pretty obvious who the winner was pretty early on, like within, by like 8 or 9 o'clock p.m. on election night. But yeah, between the whole thing with the tariffs, they're like, they were celebrating, the left was celebrating with the tariffs. They're like, yeah, Donald Trump's going to run the economy to the ground. All the right-wingers are going to lose all their money, and they're going to go broke, and they're going to get what they deserve because they voted for Trump. And then within, 2 days, every single country that he threatened a tariff, they all capitulated and gave in to every single one of his demands. Mexico, Canada, and even earlier than that, Colombia. That was the first country that he targeted with the tariffs over the plane landing with the repatriated Colombians. Originally, the Colombian government refused to let the plane land, and Trump's like, oh yeah, we're slapping a 25% tariff on you, and then suddenly they were letting the planes land. And then between all the stuff with the immigration and everything, controlling the fentanyl coming in through the borders, Canada and Mexico both committed to dedicating more resources to the borders, which is amazing. And even the whole thing with El Salvador, I don't even think Trump had to threaten them with tariffs, I don't think. And they agreed. They an agreement with the United States I've never seen before. I've never seen an agreement like this where he can just, like, all undocumented migrants get sent to these jails, these prisons. They can just get sent to all these jails in El Salvador, and the El Salvador government, like, is good with that. Like, they got a deal going on. Like, it's just like, this shit's just insane. Absolutely insane, but in a good way, at least as far as I'm concerned. The left is just having such a meltdown. They hate it. They hate everything about this, but you know what? It is what it is. When you try to prop up a shitty candidate like Kamala Harris up there, and up until the night of the debate, every single person on the left was swearing up and down that there was nothing wrong with Joe Biden. There was nothing wrong with him mentally. He didn't have any cognitive decline. It was all just right-wing propaganda. It was Fox News making it all up. And then when the debate happened, suddenly where it's time to throw Joe Biden under the bus, because we can't hide it, right? They're trying to hide it this entire time. And Harris was just such a horrible candidate. I think it's funny how even now, months later, they're talking about how Harris ran an amazing campaign. She was an amazing candidate, but she lost because of racism, because of sexism, and all these things. But if we just run on the same exact platform and the same exact type of campaign, but we put someone up like Gavin Newsom instead, then we can win. I love it that they're saying this, because they're just guaranteeing President J.D. Vance in 2028. And I love that they're just not learning their lesson. And all these people that they're putting into the DNC, fucking David Hogg, are you fucking serious? It's like putting me in the RNC. Like, really? Are you fucking serious? You know what I mean? Like, it would be less of a joke, honestly, to put me in like, party leadership than fucking David Hogg. Yeah, the Democrats are a joke. They don't know what the hell they're doing, and I don't think they're going to get their shit together before 2028. It's going to be after that. Like, they're probably going to win in 2032. I think whoever, whatever Democrat they put through, by then we'll probably be able to win the presidency, because it takes, after a certain amount of time, people get tired of the party in power and it just swings the other way, and that's just what happens. But Democrats did such a horrible job running things, when Joe Biden was president, that people, as much as they didn't like Donald Trump, they're like, we don't really have an alternative because everything's going to be more expensive, because they've been more expensive. So I think he said that he's targeting Europe next as far as the tariffs and everything, and he's threatening them with a whole bunch of things. We'll see if they're going to capitulate also. I think it might get to a point where he's just going to keep threatening people with all these different things, and someone eventually is going to call his bluff, and the whole thing's probably going to fall apart, and he's not going to just keep getting away with saying, oh yeah, 25% tariff. But the thing is, Trump has when he says he's going to do something, he's going to go through with it. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't have to worry about re-election, right? So there's less pressure on him to do certain things because to be worried about re-election. I mean, I guess you would like to see J.D. Vance get elected in 28, but it's not as much of a concern for his legacy and everything for him to just pretty much do whatever the fuck he wants. All these things like U.S. aid and everything that he's doing on the executive branch, it's just amazing. He's like, it feels like government is finally getting back in control from the people instead of these bureaucrats in the deep state and all these different entities that just had such a strong grip, and they're trying to hold on. Like, there's all these different groups of people who are they're federal employees that are trying to resist the executive orders and resist everything Trump's trying to accomplish and get done. Good luck with that. Eventually, they're just gonna fucking shit can your asses and get rid of you, which they should. And there's also the cabinet nominees too. The only problem that Trump had was with Matt Gaetz, which was self-explanatory why he couldn't get through. And I was worried about certain people like Tulsi. I'm like, oh, she's not going to get through. And her confirmation didn't happen yet. It didn't actually get through, but it looks like it's going to. It seems like she's on the right track, and she is very likely to get confirmed. Robert Kennedy Jr., who I'm honestly not as too high on, to be honest, when it comes to some of his ideas and policies. So I'm not that enthusiastic about him, but it looks like he's going to get through. Pam Bondi's going to get through. They were trying to filibuster her nomination, but she's going to get through. So, and also it's taken a lot quicker for these nominees to get confirmed than it did 8 years ago in 2017. So all in all, it's looking like it's shaping up. It's only been a couple weeks, but from what I've seen so far, I like most of what I see. And I'm very optimistic about the future of this country. I was, admittedly, with the whole thing with the trade war, I was a little nervous, especially since I lost like $6,000 in one day with my investments. But I'm like, it'll go back up. And I don't think this whole thing's going to last as long as everyone thinks it's going to. And the tariffs, the whole thing was resolved before tariffs even went through. So I'm like, yep, I have my faith in Donald Trump. That's why I voted for him, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I think he's going to continue to do right by the American people and do a great job and help the American economy prosper even more than it did during his first term. So I'm very excited about the next 4 years.